Okay, good morning again. This is Andy and Dr. Josie with Zero10 Podcast, and today we have our very first return guest.
Yes. Oh,
And
really?
yes,
Yes.
yes, and one of our favorites. Well, they're all favorites, but Dr. Rhonda Jolliffe with the Jolliffe Institute of Restorative Medicine and Aesthetics. Did I say that right?
You did.
Okay, yes, yes. And again, just a quick refresher about Dr. Rhonda. She is, in my opinion, a pioneer in women's health in Bismarck, but honestly in North Dakota, period, and maybe potentially even extending out past that. But we're excited to have you back, Dr. Rhonda, and to tell us, I think it was fall of almost 2 years ago that you were one of our first guests on Zero10 Podcast. I think, was she our first guest?
She may be the first guest we
She
had.
might have been our first guest.
Gosh, I feel so special.
I know. Well, you are special. And but so since it's been almost 2 years, we're excited to hear sort of some of the changes that maybe have been happening in your business, and because I don't think we touched a lot on your business back then. We had some restrictions. Remember, Josie? We were working with someone as far as our podcast going out, and we couldn't talk a lot about business. So I think today, let's really talk about your business and tell us. I had to put the kibosh on it because we were already talking about it before we were rolling, and I had to say let's record this because you were already talking about such fun, exciting things. So let's just jump into the PEMF that you were talking about.
We're going to jump right in.
Let's jump in.
Okay. Well, I've been doing a lot of things. My main focus for kind of the rest of my career is to help people really understand a lifestyle of healing. And that includes obviously good nutrition, managing your stress, exercise, obviously, and good sleep. And so I really help people with that. But another thing that I have been working with is different technologies. I think we're really into the technology phase of our existence in healthcare. And I see new technologies coming down, and I'm so excited. And it's why I'm going to continue to work, because I've been waiting for these things and now they're starting to come out. So one of the things I recently added was PEMF, pulsed electromagnetic field therapy. And that is been around years and years, but a technology that has literally been hidden from us. I'm reading more and more about that's the exact word they're using, is hidden. And so it was developed in 1890 by Nicholas Tesla. And he figured out that frequencies can actually heal the body. And so when you think about frequencies, everything's a frequency. Okay. So we're made of frequencies. Our earth is one big magnet. It's a energy system in itself. And so I'm sure a lot of people have heard of grounding, because that's a really popular thing on the internet right now, is to ground. And so when you go on the earth's grass and you put your bare feet on the grass, you're grounding to the earth, basically. And you're getting the earth's energy, which is very healing. So when you walk on a beach for 20 minutes, doesn't that feel wonderful? You're grounding. When you walk on the grass, you're grounding. When you're out in nature, you're getting the earth's energy. Unfortunately, our earth's energy isn't what it used to be either, because of all the electrical things and Wi-Fi and all of the other frequencies. So there's many frequencies. Wi-Fi is a frequency. Electricity is a frequency. Some of these are negative frequencies to our bodies, so they actually affect our cells. And so when they're affecting our cells, they're affecting them negatively. The cells don't function as well. And so things that happen are fatigue, chronic illness like fibromyalgia or rheumatoid arthritis. Can I say words like that? I didn't even ask.
Yes.
We're good on this podcast.
You can say whatever you want.
Say any word you want.
Sometimes you have to be so careful that you can't make, but I'm a clinician, so why can't I say that? It's crazy, it's
Yeah.
like that's my life. And so I have a hard time not saying it. But so over the years, I see all these chronic problems and it's getting worse. So I've been practicing long enough. The great thing about practicing a long, long time is you carry wisdom and experience with you, and that never leaves you. And so in 1997, when I started as a nurse practitioner, I was a nurse 13 years before that. But in 1990, started, I didn't see the sicknesses I see today. I can list them off. Irritable bowel syndrome, just started coming into the name irritable bowel syndrome, just started back then. And now, I'd see probably one a month. And now it's like everyone that comes in basically qualifies for IBS type symptoms. And so these kinds of things, our world has changed and the frequencies of our world have changed. In 1997, we didn't even have internet, by the way. So we didn't have Wi-Fi. We didn't have all of the electrical things that are in our environment right now. We did not have back then. And so we do see effects. And so people are like, why is everybody sick? Why is there more cancer? Why is there more autoimmune diseases? There's many, many reasons why, and I could go on and on and on about that, but I'll bring it back to frequency. One of the things is the frequency is either healing or can make us sick. And so we want people to be in a frequency of healing. There's many healing frequencies. Light, for instance. So some you might know about the patches, those X39 patch light frequency. That's the frequency it's putting back into our body through light. There's a lot of technologies with different frequencies. I have a machine that I've had for a lot of years. It's called frequency specific microcurrent. So it's a microcurrent that creates different frequencies of different conditions. So like if you have migraine headaches, it's got a condition for that. If you have fibromyalgia, there is a frequency for that. And so this treatment can help those conditions because it just resets your cells frequency. Our food has a frequency, and Apple has a greater frequency than a Dorito. And
Yeah.
so that is energy that we're putting into our bodies. Those are frequencies we're putting into our bodies. So we can either heal ourselves through our food or make ourselves sick through our food. And it does come down to another frequency. And so about 20 years ago, I don't know the exact time, I knew about PEMF for a lot of years. Back in the 90s, I knew about PEMF. They were hard to find, hard to get. And then in the early 2000s, mid 2005, maybe-ish, my kids were starting sports and they were getting injuries. And so Big Mama Bear wanted to find something to help their injuries. And so I bought myself a PEMF machine. And so it's pulsed electromagnetic field. And at that time, it was a mat that you could lay on. And then there was a wrap. And so I would use this wrap to heal them when they'd have a sprained ankle or they'd have a fracture or whatever. And my kids would always get back on the field way sooner than their coaches expected them to because of their injuries, because of the type of injuries they had. I mean, my boys were very active and had a lot of injuries. So I have a lot of experience just from my two sons. And so I've had this machine for a long time. And of recent, I thought, you know what? I really want to get one for the clinic because I have other services like hyperbaric and red light therapy. And I wanted to get a PEMF. So I started doing research about a year ago. You know what? I want to do something. There's beds that you can get. There's mats that you can get. So this is not this is out there. It's not, it's becoming more and more popular. And people are even hearing, and they might hear it as PEMF. So the people that PEMF therapy, that's the word they use. So I started looking into this because I figured my technology of 25 years ago has likely improved. So, and I wasn't using my machine anymore. I didn't find it very effective anymore. So I was just questioning if there's better technology out there. So I did find one. And it was By fluke, Dr. Christian Northrup, I've been following her since the 90s. She was on a podcast, and I'm like, oh, what's she up to today? Because I would listen to different things that she was on. She's written many books on women's health and healing and all kinds of things, but just really a mentor for me over the years. I think I first heard her speak in 1994 or 5. But so I listened to her, and she talked about this new technology that was coming to the United States from Asia. Now, here's the thing about Asians. I think they have a few things up on us. Number one, they're healthier than we are by far. And number two, they're really high-tech people. Their technology skills their tech is better than ours. So this was developed by a man with a lot of money, but he wanted to put his money into combining wellness and technology. And so that was his goal. And he doesn't, I don't even know his name because he's not out there as, the leader of this. But he started studying technology, and he chose PEMF. And so what he did with the machine that I now have is it's a combination of PEMF and terahertz. Now, terahertz is another frequency that is for healing. And I actually have a terahertz machine, of course, too. It's a handheld terahertz. Terahertz is funny. It's kind of some of the terahertz. There's terahertz wands. I don't know if you guys have seen those, but they're wands and they blow energy, and it's a frequency, and you can put it on things and it can help heal. Again, another healing frequency. And so the two combination. So she was talking about it, and she was talking about some of the things that she's seen. And so I thought, well, I'm ordering it. It wasn't that expensive in the big picture. It was much cheaper than the one I bought 25 years ago, if you can believe that. And so I thought, well, I'm going to order it and see, because I was looking, and I ordered it for myself, started using it. And it's a plate that you put your feet on. And there's levels of 0 to 20. And at 2 and 3, level 2 and 3, I'm getting energy up my body. And so I started sleeping better. I started having more energy. And so I decided to bring it into the clinic. This technology has changed so many people's health so quickly. And so this is what I know things take long to heal. But this is like speeding that healing process up. And so one of the first things that I treated, it has a wand that you can actually treat spot areas. And so one of the first things I treated was a athlete. It was a friend of mine. He was a baseball player up at University of Mary, and he had one of his teammates had torn his hamstring. And they were getting towards the end of the season, and he thought he was going to be done playing. They kind of told him that he's probably done. And he was a senior, and he was willing to do anything. So I treated him with his hamstring. Now, he had a bruise from under his butt to the mid calf, and it was a really dark bruise all the way down. So if you've seen a really bad hamstring pull, this is a common thing. They get bruised really bad. And so I treated him one day, and then I treated him the next with this wand. And then their team was going to play baseball. He hadn't planned on playing, but he played. And he didn't play the whole time. I think he just played one game or whatever. I'm not sure exactly how much he played. And then he came back on Monday, and I treated him again, and then they left on Wednesday. But when he came back on Monday, the bruise was gone. This was from Thursday to Monday. I have never seen that. So I see bruises. I see a lot of them. And you see bruises that one like this can take up to a month to literally be gone. And he had already had it for 2 weeks, a week and a half. The bruise had gotten worse, he said. But there wasn't even any yellow or anything. You know how it turns different colors, and the last color it turns is yellow and then it goes away. It was gone. I have never seen a bruise like that gone in that short of a time. So I knew it was doing something. Then I treated him again twice, and then he left on Wednesday, and he played the whole weekend and literally got a record for the most hits. So he was so tickled. So that was like an aha for me. Okay. So it takes a lot for an aha for me anymore because I do so many things. So I know what healing takes. I know it's not a quick fix. I know this. And so one of the hardest parts for my patients is to say, okay, this is going to take time because everybody wants that pill that's just going to do the trick. And it doesn't. Nothing does. And so this was an aha for me, I have to say. And it, like I say, it takes a lot for ahas for me. I'm going to turn off my
So I'm
phone.
kind of dying to know the name of this because I have a feeling we have the same machine.
Are you
As
serious? The
yes,
P90? Do
yes,
you have
girl,
it?
that's exactly what I have. I've been using it for 5 months. I love
Isn't it
it.
like unbelievable?
Yeah, it's sitting right here,
Like,
right in front of me, right now.
yeah, I
Yeah.
know. I
I was
know.
like, this whole time she's talking, I'm like, oh, time out. I want to know.
Yeah,
What's the name of this? Yeah, it's the Ollie Life.
it's so funny. Well, that is amazing. Yeah, so it's technology just coming to the United States. It's new
I
here.
know it's new here, and
So,
it takes some time to
yeah,
get here, actually. Yeah,
it took a long time to get here.
getting
It
better,
started
but
in Asia. And so do you agree? It's like
100%.
nothing else. Like, yeah, I've
I had
never.
somebody who he broke his foot and they couldn't get it was um oh geez, now I can't remember what bone it was, navicular, that he's still struggling with that piece, but he wasn't able to walk and they were trying to decide what to do because it wasn't healing and everything healed. But I couldn't get him to I'm in a ranching community. I don't know what it is. Like even he did it and he's like it helped. He had it for 2 weeks and he was able to walk again. Everything healed, but the navicular so far. And then he gave it back to me and
Oh
was
my
like,
God.
and was like, well, he's like, it works. I'm like, yeah, well, keep doing it for that navicular bone. Like, there's nothing
I
else.
know.
You can't do anything else. He's like, "Oh,
There
I don't
isn't.
know. Maybe I'll just wait and see how it goes and see what happens." I'm like, oh my goodness. Take the
Yeah, the number
machine.
one thing that PMF does is it regenerates bone.
It
I
does.
mean, that is a biggie, what it does. So for me in my clinic, I'm quite excited about it for osteoporosis, to be honest. I think it's going to help a lot of osteoporosis women. But to get them to understand it and realize that this is a daily treatment. And this is why I got it too, because people need daily stuff. They need
Yes.
daily stuff. We get exposed to this every day. We need daily calming. We need daily like frequency healing. And so that's why I got it because I want it available for people to have in their homes.
In their
You know,
homes. Yes.
we're getting to the point where it's getting expensive for them to come into the clinic and do these treatments. It's expensive, it's time consuming. They can have it in their home, jump on it for 20 minutes in the morning. They're good to go. If they're treating something, they can use that little wand. They can go on it twice a day if they need, if they're treating something, but general health maintenance. Just like I say, I sleep less, I have more energy. It is a huge factor in our life. And so I'm just all over it because of that, because I want people to I don't need them to come into my clinic 3 times a week when they're not even getting it as effective as if they get it on
At
every
home.
day.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so that is my story on that. So excited about that. I think people need, as we need daily nutrition, as we need daily exercise and movement, we need daily grounding.
Mhm.
And it's a technology that's out there. There's many out there. The thing I liked about it the most is I was looking at mats and beds, and the cheapest was like 8 grand, and they went up to like 25,000. And it's like, okay, this is crazy, and people aren't going to buy that for their homes. And so this is so much less expensive at 1,500. They can have it into their home. And so that's my new thing is getting people in their homes daily care, the daily care that we need, the daily prayer, meditation, movement, eating good, all these simple things that make a big difference in your health long term instead of that quick fix.
And it's like quality of life, right? Like feeling good in the life that we are here for, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you can live till be 90. But I don't want to live to be 90 if I don't feel good till 90. If I'm feeling crappy at 70 and I have 20 years of not feeling good, I'm really not interested. So, yeah, it's the feeling good that is, and there's so many anti-aging things out there. It's like everybody is on a kick. Everybody's on a kick for, peptides and hormone replacement therapy and all of this. And I do all that too. But it's really the basic, the basics that is the biggie, and it moves the needle the most over the long haul. Because even peptides, people get sick of injecting, so then they get tired of it. It's only, I'm doing that for injury repair and things, and they have to inject 5 days a week, and some people don't want to do that. Or they'll do it short term, but it's not sustainable. The
But their
weekly is
lifestyle
more,
didn't change, right?
excuse,
There's a lot of
right,
people's
right.
lifestyles didn't change in the midst of doing
Exactly.
the thing. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, that's the one thing I've added in, and I've also added peptide therapy. I continue to do hormone replacement therapy, and really a lot of education needs to be done on that now too. Way more than there used to be, even because of the changes that have gone on with hormone replacement. So when RFK came out and said that he took the black box warning off of estrogen. This was a really big deal, and now women are going back on estrogens because of it. And for 25 years, women did not take any estrogen, and this was probably one of the worst things we could have done to our society for 25 years. So that's my age group of people that did not do hormone replacement therapy and now have dementia and osteoporosis and all these things that it could have been prevented. I really like helping women decide whether they want to do hormone replacement therapy or not, because not everybody does want to, and that's their choice. And so what I love about this PEMF is this is another option for osteoporosis in my book, on my list of things. Hey, if you're not going to do hormone replacement, PMF can help your bones. And one thing I've noticed, so I'm up in my, well, yeah, just about mid 60s. It's, I hate saying that out loud, but it is what it is. My brain is still 30, still there. And
That's right. That's right.
yeah, so that's all that matters. But that I've noticed, and I haven't done bone density for 15 years. I don't like doing tests because I just like to kind of live my life. Because sometimes those tests you get bad news, and then you know what? Then you live on that bad news. So I probably have osteoporosis or osteopenia. I probably do. Don't know for sure, but probably do. And since I've been using that, I had my lower spine when I do Pilates. I could feel some crunching going on in there when I, bend back or do some of the things of the core work. Some crunching in my back, it's gone. And so I know that something's going on in my spine. So I probably should have tested because now I could retest and prove it, but it's okay. I know what I know.
That is the best thing about testing, actually, is when you prove that it can change in the positive
I
direction.
know. And I do like that too. I do like that. Yeah.
Yeah. But oh my
Tell us
gosh.
what else is going on in your business. So you added in another nurse practitioner, and then also what about talk about the place, the sound therapy,
Mm.
because that's
You mean
kind of
the
are the
you mean the EES room?
yes
Okay,
the
sure.
EES room, yeah.
Okay. There is a EES room within my clinic. It's a gentleman that started it. I shouldn't say a gentleman. It's a couple that started it out of Fargo. So they started the EES, and they wanted to move into Bismarck. So contacted me. Would you want to have it in your location? So I don't own the EES, but we help run it. And so it's housed in our clinic site. And EES is another frequency. It's scalar energy. And so it's another frequency, and it's a room that you sit in, and there's monitors that create a force of energy in between these monitors. And so it's a very high tech, because if it actually moves an inch, it can throw off the whole energy of the room. So when they put these monitors in, it was very high tech calibrated. But these four monitors, they go to a point in the room and they meet, and then it expends the energy out. And so it actually goes out 2 miles. So if you're anywhere near it, you might feel that. So I feel like we're being protected from all that outside energy coming in because it's in our building. But that too is another healing frequency. That is, you just sit in the room, you just sit in the room. And so people do 2 hour sessions. They might do a 4 hour, they might do 6 hour, and they do overnights. So they will sleep in there overnight. With that healing, depending on what you have, if you have an acute sinus infection and you go in there, it can literally start draining your sinuses. But if you have chronic issue, I have some chronic pain people that come on a regular basis and stay overnight. And so over the long haul, they are getting better in that room. I love that room. I have seen some amazing results from that as well. So yeah, that's exciting. That's been there for, oh gosh, a year and a half now, or is it 2 years? I lose track of time. So that's another frequency healing. So I've been into frequency healing. I actually had a magnetic mattress back in 1995. So this stuff is not new to me. This is like everybody should have it. I thought in 1995 by now everybody would have it, but here we are. So that's why I love getting the word out on this.
I
I
was in one
added
of
in,
those rooms, Rhonda. I
where
was in
have you
one of
been
those
in
rooms
it?
in Bali. That was the first time I'd done any of that. It was super interesting, but it
Isn't
sounds
it
like it was set
cool?
up just like how you explained it in that
Yes.
circle and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and were you in one that had like 24 monitors?
at least. Yeah, it was a
Yeah,
lot.
because
It was a
some of
big
them
one.
have like different numbers of monitors, like 12. I think there's 8, 12, 18, 24, and 48. I think that's what's available. Ours is a 24. So yeah, that's really
Interesting.
cool. Yeah, it is.
Good for you.
So people do love that. So, just healing one person at a time. So I hired a nurse practitioner because part of my goals in my life at my age is we are in that self actualization stage, which is a really great place to be, by the way. So, as far as aging, don't look at it as a bad thing. There are great things about where I'm at in my career and my personal life. Um, so the self actualization stage of a person's life, and we all go through it, is the stage in your life that you're giving back because you've done your stuff, you've done your career, and I have been in private practice since 99. I've done a lot of stuff. Now it's giving back by training others to do what I do because I believe in it so much. And so I have a nurse practitioner now that I am going to train and mold into the kind of care that I give, which is the care that I believe in. And so it's holistic care. And that is where I'm at in my life right now. So I am teaching because that's giving back also. So I'm doing a little bit more teaching. Here I am. I'm on a podcast. I'm on a meeting with another guy on a podcast this afternoon in a couple weeks. So getting the word out there for people that we really have control of our own health. We really, really do. And now I'm excited that we've moved into a different phase of healing modalities that are available that have been around for years and years, but we've have them available. And I'm also very pleased that some of the word is now getting out and we can start talking about some of the things that have been making us sick all these years. And so that's been on the underground too. And so my life experiences has led me to this stage in my life that I need to share and educate, share, and mentor others. And so that's where I'm at with that. And I hired, her name is Brianne Raymond, and she's this most wonderful gal. And I have to share what she said because it was so cute. So she comes in and she's just this bubbly person. And she's in her 30s. I'm not sure exactly, closer to 40 actually. And I'm just watching her about her day. And I looked at her one day and I thought to myself, oh my gosh, that is me 30 years ago. And she's got long brown hair and she's just, and she's so good and she loves people and she cares. And I'm like, oh God, I'm working with someone that was me 30 years ago. Well, one day I decided to tell her that. I said, you know what? I looked at you and I'm thinking I'm working with someone that was me 30 years ago. And she goes, oh my gosh. I just told my mother, my mom goes, do you like your job? And she said, yeah, mom, I'm working with someone that I want to be in 30.
Oh,
Can you believe that? It was just so cool. It was just like, oh my gosh, thank you, God. And God did bring her. God brings me everybody. So, yeah, yeah. And so, God is alive and well, by the way, in case you guys didn't know it. He is in our
We know.
lives. And I know you know, and he is creating everything and he knows your story already and you're just in it, and he just knows your story. And so recently I had a nurse who decided to leave and she really and it was more for just some personal family issues, but she really didn't want to leave. So she was really struggling with it. Oh my gosh, don't tell me there's someone at my door. I'm sorry.
All right.
And so I'm on a podcast. Okay. I'm on a podcast. So anyway, it's a friend of mine and he's coming to use the PEMF machine. So
there you
good.
go. Woo.
yeah, yeah. So I have people come over to use it at my home. But anyway, it was oh, if it wasn't for my dog, sorry about this. It's life. So anyway, what was I saying?
We were
You
talking. Oops, sorry. Go ahead, Andy.
you were talking about God in our lives.
Yeah, so my nurse, I had a nurse and she
Nurse,
really
yeah.
didn't want to leave because she loves her work there, but more personal reasons why she had to, and she was struggling with it. And so what was interesting was a few weeks ago, I had another nurse that was actually my husband's nurse when he was going through cancer treatment. She contacted me and she goes, do you have a nursing position? And oh, I really want to get into your kind of nursing. And I said, gosh, sorry, I don't. But here's some things that you can start studying, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, when I said that about God, it was like, well, God knew that my nurse was leaving, and he literally had this other beautiful, wonderful nurse waiting in the midst to come in. And so I've got my nurse. So that is how it works. And that is in every facet of our life. We just need to be aware. We just need to be open and aware
Open.
and pay attention to the things around you.
Mm, I love that.
100%.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
That's great advice.
It is. Gosh, there's so much there. I don't even like. I'm just like,
I know.
okay.
I know.
You know,
Again, we
it's like,
could
where do you go next?
Yeah.
we could do a whole nother hour or two on this, but where do you see yourself? I'm sure I asked you this before, but where do you see yourself or your practice or both in 5 years?
Well, I think the last time I talked to you, we did talk about grief with my husband. So I lost my husband. And shortly before he passed, both my sons came to me, and I'm pretty sure my husband told them to help me with the business. I'm pretty sure he did, but they never said he did, but they came to me and said, Mom, we want to help you out with your business. What can we do? And so one of my sons is actually managing my business. And so even no matter what I decide to do, retirement doesn't seem like it's in my vocabulary. I always will stay, involved with something. But my sons are very interested in carrying it forward, even if something happens to me or I decide I don't want to work as much or whatever. We are still going to keep the clinic going. And that's why I'm hiring a nurse practitioner because I believe in the kind of care that I'm giving so deeply. I need to carry that forward as, kind of a legacy. And that's another thing, at my age, you kind of look at that whole legacy thing. My husband left a legacy of two amazing boys. And so that was, two loving, amazing boys. And so that legacy, is something I was so well aware of. And so it's like, oh my gosh, what's my legacy to my boys? And so my legacy to my boys is teaching them, having them involved in helping others, because that is what I've done my whole life. And so and that's very rewarding. So that is where they're at, and they're doing a pretty darn good job at that too. In fact, they say things that sometimes, when your kids are adults and they say things that are so like profound and mature and all this, you're like, oh my gosh, that was really deep. And so they say things sometimes, and sometimes I see Ben in the clinic talking to patients, and he's like a mini me. Sometimes I see him and he'll be talking to a patient, like, I'm like, where did you get that from? And then I'm like, oh, I guess you were my son, And so, yeah, so that is, I see the clinic continuing because I love some of the archetypes. I've done some archetypal work, and one of the archetypes I have is a pioneer. So I do like finding new things. I'm always looking for that next thing, and so I do see the clinic staying up on the latest, whether it's technologies, any healing modalities, anything that can help people with their daily life and heal. I do see us keeping up with all of that. And so that is a futuristic thing. A lot of things can change as they have, but not as fast as I've wanted them to. So I have to say things kind of stayed pretty still for 25 years, and in the last 5 years, more rapidly improving on stuff. And that's because of the public, by the way. So I do want to talk a little bit about that, because what I do is it's a supply and demand in our life. So if we demand better food and we're in the grocery store buying better food, the demand is there. There's going to be better food. And those middle aisles with the bad food will go away because those chips are going to sit there longer. And so it's a whole supply and demand thing. And so same with, what I do, it's a supply and demand thing. And so there's now a bigger demand after COVID, the blessing of COVID. And I always have to talk this language because it was a really tough time in my life for my clinic, for my everybody's health, my husband's health. It was very, very tough. It was really the most stressful time in my whole life. That the blessing of that was that it made people aware that, hey, the medical system didn't do their best job of caring for us. And they started realizing that, and realizing that they need to care for themselves. And so I've seen a shift in that. I've seen that in my clinic. I've seen that shift of people coming in. I used to have to, educate and do all this to get people in. And now it's like people are looking for somebody like me that can help them because they're not getting answers. And so I see that shift. That shift has happened now. And that was the blessing of COVID.
Mm. Yeah.
I remember us having coffee right around that time and talking about this specific thing and maybe not understanding then what really was going to be, but like understanding that there was a shift that had to happen with COVID. Like it had to, and it did. And looking back now, isn't it? It is amazing what that opened up.
It did open up a lot. I mean, people just really started being aware. And you know how everything is. It goes from here and then it's way over here. So now we have a society that don't trust physicians for anything. And so that's not where we want to be either. That's really not a good place either, because if you have an injury or, a trauma, you need to go to an ER and get care. If you have a fracture, you need to get care. And so many people now don't want to go for anything, and that's not good either. And so now hopefully we can bring it back into balance a little bit better, that yes, in fact, you do have choices. And if you're seeing a doctor that's not meeting your needs, find a new one, because the doctors are getting it too about supply and demand, and they are going to have to start opening up. They are going to have to start educating. When I went to my first holistic medicine conference in 1996, it was physicians. I was the only nurse practitioner at the time. We weren't as popular back then anyway, but there were 40 people, and that was a national. And now there's thousands of doctors that are practicing functional medicine and holistic medicine and all of this. And so again, it's supply and demand. And so the demand is greater now. We are seeing more schools and certifications and these kind of things popping up. We've seen physicians kind of making the switch. And the one thing is, when you make a switch as a practitioner, there's no going back. It's like, okay, you're in. Because once you see the other side and you actually see people getting better that you hadn't seen them getting better on their drugs, you're just maintaining their blood pressure or maintaining their cholesterol, but they're really not better. Our heart disease is still as high as it always was, even with stents and technology and all of this. And so chronic illness is alive and well, and it's higher rates now than it ever was. So we have to get a handle on it because the cost of healthcare in the United States is, it's going to break us. And so it is, so there's shifts going on and it's really great. And it's why I'm not going to retire because I like being a part of it. I just really like being a part of the shift.
I want
now
to have
that I've been waiting
FOMO.
for. Yeah, right. That's a good one.
Right?
Yeah.
I would have FOMO if I was retired. I never thought of it. That's a good one. I'm going to use it, Josie.
Good. Uh, I do have one question, and maybe this is coming later, but when I think of the name of your business and I think of Institute, I think of you teaching a lot of doctors or any healthcare professionals to think your philosophy. Is that do you have is there a piece of that in there or not? And
thank you for saying it because my previous name was Lifeways. And I had a marketing person meet with me and said I should change my name. And I should use my last name because I had a reputation in Bismarck. And so she had said I should use my last name. And I wasn't 100% comfortable with it right away. It took me a while kind of to settle into that. And then I was like, well, what other word? Institute came up right away because of the education, because that is what I want to do is, we spend time educating. So I spend an hour with a patient. There's very few doctors that spend an hour with a patient anymore. That is my first visit. It's an hour. And that's after they've done about a half hour of paperwork. So I can look through that. So I don't have to, so it's a process. It's a good hour and a half process, the first patients that I see. And so, yes, the education is a big piece. I've added a health coach. That has been huge. It's been a game changer to have a health coach teaching nutrition, teaching stress management. And so that is a biggie. And yeah, thank you for acknowledging that. That makes me feel good. I don't know if anybody's acknowledged that before. So thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, Andy,
I think it's a great place to end, like future, right?
Yes.
We're
Yeah.
look into the future, and thank you for being our first return guest. There we
and
go.
possibly our
Took me a
first one.
minute.
So you've got a couple of firsts in our belt. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's great. I love it. Well, thank you for having me. This is actually, this is part of, what my goals are for myself, or, giving back, educating and sharing. So my experiences and anything new that's coming. So yeah, thank you for having me.
We really appreciate you.
Thanks, Rhonda.
Thank you.